All right, everyone, welcome back to the Performance Matters podcast. I'm your host, Matrix. We are here today with Ryan Weicker, the coach of the Junior Badger Wrestling Program, and also, back in the day, five-time CIS national champion. And then you won nationals in, what, 2012?
Yep, 2012.
Yeah, and then you were a world team member at that point, too. So, awesome guest to have on today. First, big shout-out to our sponsor, Pete Method Photography, the premier sportsographer in the Niagara region. If you want to get in contact with him, you go to www.petemethodphotography.com or via email, petemethodphotography@gmail.com. Always support local. We're big over here that in the Niagara region. Okay, so Ryan, for folks that might not know you, why don't you just kind of give us a little background? Let's kind of go back to your wrestling career days, and we'll kind of work our way forward from there.
Sure. So I kind of got a late start in wrestling as far as most wrestlers go. Like I started in grade 10, and even partway through the season. I actually had a girlfriend at the time who kind of gave me that push to go out because like I always wanted to wrestle. Even in grade 9, like I went to go out to wrestle, and they were playing handball, all the guys, and like they all had like armpit hair, and I'm like, oh man, I don't have armpit hair yet. I can't compete with these guys. So like
I'm not ready.
I wasn't ready. So I'm like, okay, can't wrestle yet. So the next year I went out, but it took a push from a girl I was dating at the time. So I got out on the mat in grade 10, and I just like instantly, I'm like, I friggin' love this. Like, I just knew it. Like after the first practice, I'm like, nope, this is like everything that I'm about. That was like, I just was instantly hooked.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue from like my career from there? Or, like,
what about, so like, did you play team sports in high school?
Yeah, so I played, in high school, I played rowing, football, cross country. Before high school, I played rep baseball.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick. Okay, so then what was like the difference between like a team sport and then going to like an individual sport? What was the hook?
So the hook is, so an individual sport is way harder, but when you win, it's way more rewarding. So it's probably a less fun aspect, but way more rewarding. Like, man, there is nothing like I did this. Everything that I put into it, I earned this. And like, that's just an amazing feeling. But when you win something with a team, yeah, everyone's cheering and excited, but that quickly fades to like, oh, we did this. It's not as rewarding.
Yeah, when I started, I was like, I think I kind of trickled into it when I was like 9. But I played team sports, like baseball was my big thing. And I was a terrible teammate. Like when some guy would fuck up, I would get fucking pissed. I'm like, how the fuck did you miss that? Because now I'm losing.
Yeah.
Right? Then I remember like going to my first wrestling tournament, I was like, whatever, 9 or 10. And I got my ass kicked. And then it was my dad was just like, you have no one to blame but yourself. And I was like, holy shit. It was a very like different feeling. You're like, fuck, like that guy just kicked the shit out of me. It's like, that was all me. Like I was not prepared to do any of that shit. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was like the hook for me. It was like, I am solely responsible for how good or how bad I am.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like there's no one else to blame or point fingers. And I think you're right. It's going to be the victories are they're more extreme, but also the losses are also more devastating
way more devastating
by default, right? Because it's very lonely.
Well, actually, I don't know. I was pretty devastated after the Jays lost of the weekend. That was devastating.
You had 2 opportunities at home to win, and the guy slid at home plate on a forced play, man. Just fucking. There's a lot of anyway.
I know.
It was But anyway, yes. Going on to that. So then transitioning now from high school to university career, like what was the recruiting process like for you? Why'd you make the decision to wrestle at Brock University and then kind of walk along that line?
I actually didn't get really recruited that hard. I think I only had maybe one school approach me. I think it was Thunder Bay approached me and said, hey, like, what are your thoughts on coming? I had already really made up my mind that I was going to go to Brock. In grade 12, we kind of had a teacher's work to rule strike. So the only opportunity for me to train in wrestling was to go to Brock. So it was already what I was used to. So I was already training there full time.
Yeah, it's familiar.
Yeah, so it was familiar, and it was a great atmosphere. Like we had so many like just killers in the room at the time that like, man, like, ugh. And they didn't give you a quarter. You didn't ask for one kind of thing. Like you were in there battling, and it was just like, it was awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So then, how did we go from your first year to then become the first guy, I think, to win 5 national titles from the CIS? I guess it's U Sports now, whatever. But
Yeah.
at that time,
Man, it was hard because I remember actually that year, my first tournament, of the year, we went to Montreal, and I got teched by the Montreal guy in my weight class. I was like, oh man, I got a lot of work to do, and like it was just grinding every morning, like getting up, going and doing technique and cardio in the morning, then practice after, and if I had anything left after that, I would try to maybe go do some weights, and then on top of that, trying to get your studies in for school, which often really was the thing that fell to the wayside, to be honest. Like, all I would shoot for was a 70, and if like
C's get degrees.
yeah, but man, it was a lot of freaking work. It was hard.
Yeah.
But I mean, just paid off. Just like every day you get a little bit better. You can push yourself a little bit more, and you can make a lot of gains in an individual sport just like with the right mentality. Like, I can do this, I can get better. And it's just like your mental focus on wrestling, like being able to visualize the techniques that you're doing. So you're actually learning them. You're not just like eyes glazed over watching your coach do something. Like, you're envisioning yourself doing it. You can like learn all those things and like really apply them.
Mm-hmm. So then what was that like willingness to work come from? Like, what was like the day in the life looking like? You know, because again, you didn't get there by luck. And that was a very competitive room in the, what was it, early 2000s and late 2000s. So like, what was that day look like? And it's important too, because again, we have a lot of high school athletes that are aspiring to post-secondary sport, university, college, D1, whatever it is. And I think we try to help bridge that gap to make something that's foreign as familiar as possible. So they kind of know what to expect. So if you have a really high work ethic in high school or whatever age you're at, it should be a very easy, quote unquote, easier assimilation to go to the university level. You're just doing the same thing you're doing before with better people at a faster pace, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would like a typical week or day look like when you're training to be the best in the country?
Man, basically, you wake up, your first thought is, okay, how am I going to get better at wrestling today? The first thing. So you got to like get adequate sleep the night before. So you have to wake up at a good time. So for me, I could not sleep at night. I always had such issues falling asleep. So for me, 8 o'clock in the morning was like 4 a.m. So
Yeah.
I would wake up at 8, and then I would go in every morning, probably do technique, work on like just my different skills, whatever, for an hour. And then I loved running. I did a ton of running. So always up the hills on Glendale or Hydro at Brock. So that would be usually a 25 to 30 minute kind of run that I would do most days anyways. Then you're going home. You have to like figure out all your schooling. You got to get your proper nutrition, which also is a struggle when you're broke and all you can afford is craft dinner. So like
College budget.
yeah, it was challenging for sure. It was frustrating. Yeah, then we always had practice every day at 4 o'clock. But again, you can't just show up at 4. You got to get there at like 3:30, where you get a kind of like a pre-practice sauna, get your body ready to go, so you're all loose and limber. Because if you hit that mat and you're not ready to go, right, injuries are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then practice, man, it was just a 2-hour grind. Just a grind. It was just like you're battling the whole time. Even like the way I looked at it is like even when I was doing my technique, every time I did anything, it was like with purpose and almost 100%. Always just on, never just taking a rep off. Right? Every rep you take off is, right, a missed opportunity. So it's just always go, right, be focused and do everything you can just to get that little bit better. So the next time you go and have a competition, right, you've got that extra edge on your opponents.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so then now we're kind of transitioning out here. So let's see, you had the 5-time national champion. Did you always have Olympics on your mind? Like, when did you start thinking like Olympic potential?
It was weird. I always had that mindset that I wanted to be a 5-time. At the time, it was the CIAU champion, and then I went to CIS. But I didn't have that Olympic dream, like really, really, I want to make the Olympics until kind of later on.
Hmm.
So I would say probably as my university career started winding down, that's when I was really like, oh man, I got to make the Olympics. I got to kind of transition into that. But honestly, I don't know if I ever had that same mental drive to accomplish that goal as I had for like the 5-time CIS champion.
Hmm.
And I don't know why. It was kind of weird. The Olympics is so much better. Like way better, way harder. It's way more prestigious. But for me, there was just whatever the mental side of it wasn't the same drive.
Yeah. Okay. So then, yeah, that is interesting to hear because
I
usually
know.
like I think it's kind of like ingrained, I would assume. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like if you have the opportunity to participate in university sport, especially because with wrestling, it's more like a club varsity split. You know what I mean? Like I think, you have the varsity guys if you're eligible, but then you're also in the room with like guys that are mid 20s or late 20s, early 30s, whatever, that are past their varsity careers, but they're still in the room preparing for world teams or nationals, all that kind of stuff. And I think by default, it just makes the varsity guys better anyway,
Yeah.
which is very unique because you don't really see that with too many other sports, right? Like you don't
No,
have
for sure.
the national basketball team training with the University Brock team
No,
or something
no.
like that, right? So it's kind of like I think it was that blend of like quote unquote club athlete with varsity athlete that
Absolutely
made,
major advantage.
yeah, huge advantage, right? Like you have better training partners, more seasoned veterans that can kind of like, push that pace for you. So at least for me, I always naturally thought that the next progression was okay. Like this was just a stepping stone to either the world team or national team or whatever the North Star was.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was interesting. So what was like your most gratifying win in your career?
Oh, man. Most gratifying win. I think actually for me, probably, I'd have to say the 2012 when I won nationals. Um, I had been a senior national medalist. I don't even know how. I can't even count. I'm just gonna guess 10 times, but I was never able to win that gold medal. I was so close so many times, and something crazy would always happen, or I would like have a crap match or like bad call with the ref. So just to finally get that monkey off my back was just like finally I did it. And I almost like at that point I was like, okay, I can now slow down. I don't have to keep wrestling until I'm like 100 anymore. Like
You could retire.
yeah, like I could retire and be like, finally, frig. And like the guy I wrestled was a good wrestler, but like I couldn't believe I ever lost to the guy. Like I should have smoked him. Like I don't know what. It was just one of those things. Like they also changed the rules in wrestling a whole bunch that like they did not suit the style that I had spent 15 years developing. And all of a sudden it was like now you could be passive. It was like, oh man, my whole game plan was like wear people down, and then I would get put in like an advantage position, and then they took that whole style away. So
Yeah.
that was tough to kind of transition to.
So then what do you think was the most devastating loss of your career?
Most devastating loss? Oh man, I had so many.
Damn, top two?
Most devastating loss. I would probably say in 2011 when I lost to that same wrestler at Olympic trials. Like I had no business losing to the guy, and it was super frustrating because it was like a 2-day tournament, and the first day, man, I had never felt that good in a wrestling tournament. I wrestled a wrestler, Jack Bond. He passed away, but anyways, I wrestled him, and I annihilated him in like 30 seconds. It was like 10-0. I'm like, holy crap! Like I could win an Olympic medal today. Boom. Next day, I wake up, and all of a sudden, like I feel like garbage. I'm like, what? How can that happen in a day? So, anyways, I wrestle my match against this guy, and I just wrestle so terrible and end up losing. I just like it makes you question like, man, I just worked so hard for so long, and like just to like screw it up on the day that like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're supposed to be at your best. So that was soul crushing.
Yeah. So how did you kind of manage that? Like, what was the thought after that match? Because then obviously you're done. Like, you lose that, you're done.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I have a loss that was worse.
Oh shit.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. National finals versus Chris Prickett in 2000 and I don't remember 7 or 8, something like that. I don't want to get emotional. It was a really crappy year though. Like my mom had passed away that like December, and I was like, I don't even know if I want to wrestle anymore. Like it was just weighing on you.
Mm-hmm.
So probably took a couple months off, and then okay, nationals is coming up. I should go ahead and like start training again. So start training, feeling okay. But anyways, get to nationals, get to the final, having a good match, and I win the match. The other side protests the final scoring in the second round and saying they had a different opinion on how it should have gone. Just the way the world's rules worked at the time, it wasn't even possible for him to win in that scenario.
Hmm.
Um, it was basically so I threw him in a front headlock, and then he got behind me. So worst case scenario, it's 2-2, but at the time the offensive person was protected, so I would score last. So I threw him in a front headlock. He goes behind. I get 2. He gets 1. I win the match. They protest. The protest committee gives me 2. Gives 2-2, but because
He scored last.
he scored last, they gave him an extra 1 for going behind.
Fuck.
So he got 3 points for getting thrown in a front headlock throw.
Goddamn.
So then, man, it took them like 2 hours. 2 hours go by, then we have to do the final third round. At that point, I'm just like, the drug testers are all over me. I'm just like not even in the headspace where I can wrestle anymore. I go out there, wrestle like shit the third round after wrestling good the first match, lose that match. And I was just like, what am I even doing in this sport anymore? I was so pissed.
So how'd you like? What made you come back? Like honestly, like you had a devastating loss. You had a family issue and a family tragedy. Why'd you keep going? Like what? How do you get over that? And how do you kind of just persevere through it? And like what made you want to come back? Off both, I guess, really like 2007, 2008. Then you do it again in 2011 when you fucking lose the Nationals again.
I don't know.
Why'd you keep going?
Nah, I just love the sport. Like, it brought me so much joy just to like, especially in practice, like when you're wrestling with somebody and you're both just like beating the crap out of each other and you're like flowing when you're scrambling and all those things. It's just like it's a whole other feeling. I can't even describe that I get. Like it's just like out of this world like joy I get from actually like wrestling. So you take some time off and like your wounds heal, you lick your wounds and like you miss that joy. So it's like, okay, you know what? Put all these crappy thoughts and moments aside and okay, now like, I want to get back to what I enjoy doing. So get back to like wrestling and being on the mats and mind you, like 2012, I was way too old to be competing. I don't know what I was doing.
I mean, fucking Evan came back in 2014 and fucking, I think it was 2014. He fucking beat Cleo in the semis. He's
Yeah.
fucking incredible.
That's true.
You know what I mean? He's up there too, coming off neck surgery. So
Yep.
honestly, I think if you kind of take care of your bodies and you have like the right support system, I think that these guys are winning or doing well at the highest level. They're late 20s, early 30s, sometimes in their late 30s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's possible. So then how was like the support, coming back from the loss in 2007, 2008? Like, what were your coaches telling you? Like, what was the staff like? How did they kind of get you prepared or like back in the right headspace to do the things you have to do? Like, what was that like? I'm always curious. Like, there's always the other side of the coin too, right? It's not just being an individual sport. Yes, it's you against the world, but you do need a good support staff, or you need coaches that can kind of resonate the same wavelength and then do what is necessary to get you as prepared as possible.
So in 2008, like I knew my coaches had my back for sure. After that loss, there was like a big controversy and like they were ready to scrap. Or Marty was ready to basically fight the Guelph coaches because it just got super heated in that moment, right? And like they knew what I had gone through earlier in the year, and it was emotional time I think for everybody. If you have an athlete that just like suffered something like that and then is getting completely hosed. So I knew that he had my back in that moment. I definitely appreciated that. But then after, like, I kind of just, like, stopped coming out. And it wasn't, like, a moment where, like, I reached out to anyone and was like, hey, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. So it's just kind of, like, just taking time kind of on my own was really the only way I think I could, like, figure out what I wanted to do and if I wanted to keep wrestling or, like, because, man, there's just, like, so many thoughts that go through your head and, like, some things I don't even want to discuss on this podcast, but like, it's I don't know. It was tough, anyways.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's devastating for sure. I've always, like I said, I'm always curious, just because there's always those moments, right? Like wins are fleeting, and the losses they seem to kind of linger a lot more than the wins actually do.
Yeah.
The feelings anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm always curious, like how people come back from whatever their most devastating loss would be. Like they really process it, especially now like being retired. You really like reflect back and process things, and I think it makes it easier to put in perspective. I think it's a little more logical, versus obviously in the moments it can be very emotional and you can't really find the answer you're looking for. I think you kind of make peace with it. But I'm always curious like how guys kind of rebound back
Oh,
from,
yeah.
you know.
It is friggin' yeah. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard. It's just like, but I think time, like you just kind of, it's not so in the forefront of your thoughts, your mind. So like those negative feelings, right? They'll just kind of like naturally subside, go away, and then all that's left is like your love and enjoyment of the sport, and that's how you can kind of get back into it.
Cool. Let's talk about the room you had at the time, because again, you had solid training partners. You had guys in that room that were all striving for the same thing. And so, how did you kind of find that balance of being a good competitor within the room? Because you probably like top five in the weight class were all in the same room at the same time, probably, right? So, how did you kind of balance that, like being a good teammate, working on yourself, but then also having an edge on them all at the same fucking time?
Oh man, it was friggin' hard because yeah, you wanna train with these guys because they're the best guys. But at the same point, like if you're working on something new that you want to try to like work on, like to be successful wrestling them, like how do you achieve that? Like it was hard. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know if it ever worked out for me because after the years went on, I didn't really ever beat Evan again, and I didn't really beat Cleo again. So like I had close ones with him. Don't get me wrong. So whatever I did, obviously didn't work out.
It worked for them.
It worked for them. They figured it out.
Yeah, they did figure it out. Hey, you know what? It was a successful career. So then now you transition into coaching,
Yep.
right? So what kind of made you want to now transition to the other side, where you're sitting in the corner and supporting athletes on their own endeavors?
Yeah. So again, it's just I felt like I had been given so much with wrestling. Like it taught me like how to work hard at something, and not just like, oh, I worked hard at. Like I mean, like you put everything into it, and like that's just kind of how I live my life. Like it drives my wife crazy sometimes. We're like, oh, I'm gonna paint the house, and I'm like, I paint every single square inch of the house. I'm like, I gotta do it. I have to do it all. But like that's what wrestling like. It teaches you those things, and like the world is gonna be a better place if like all of our youth can learn that if they want to achieve their goals, they have to put everything they want or everything they have into achieving those goals. So if they miss, it's whatever. But they have to live with the fact that they did everything they could to achieve that, whether it's like wrestling or sport or work or whatever. But that lesson is so important. And I don't know if there's any other sports that can quite deliver that same message like wrestling does.
Yeah, I think because we have these conversations with our athletes all the time. I think it's putting a face to want versus wish. And I think, if you really want something, it's the risk of being okay or making peace with the personal investment that comes with it. No different than anything else. If you truly invest everything into something, the cost is going to be greater. It's going to be more devastating than the loss, which I think is what we talked about earlier, right? It's like if you're striving for that pinnacle of what it means to be elite, the loss of not getting it is going to be devastating. Use the Blue Jays as an example. They had the ability to reach the pinnacle, and the downfall is like the whole thing. It's like the feeling is just incredible. So it's like I think most young athletes struggle with fully investing in something for either fear of
absolutely
failing and looking stupid or whatever that kind of process is, right?
Yeah.
So
And it feels magnified now. Like I think the youth today is more scared of failing than they were when I was growing up. I feel, and I don't know if it's social media because like
everything's public now.
Everything's public.
Yeah.
So your losses are put right out and for everyone to see. So it's like, oh man, if I lose, it's gonna be everyone's gonna see that. So I don't know if that's why or what the shift was, but like we've had some amazing athletes come through that are just like so scared to lose. And man, it's hard to like kind of work them through that. Like I always preach like it don't think about winning and losing. Think about what moves you want to do and like constantly preaching. Don't think about the wins and the losses, but easier said than done.
Always.
So like, man, it's tough.
It's a mindset shift. Like we were big on honing a process because at the end of the day, winning, we've said it on multiple episodes on the podcast. We say it to our coaches and our presentations that we do, our lectures. Winning and success, whatever you define it as, is simply a byproduct of a process that was executed, right? And you're simply decreasing your window of failure. You have two guys battling Olympic gold medal final. Someone's going to lose.
Yep.
It doesn't mean he's bad. You know, he got there to the Olympic gold medal final. Blue Jays again, right? They made it the World Series championship.
Yep.
But there's a window of failure that both teams have, and someone's going to find it. It's how do you minimize your window of failure across your process, and that'll simply result in a better outcome. Or if you lose, you found the window of failure. So if you kind of hone that process and you preach the process and the steps to get there, whatever the outcome is, at least you're as prepared as possible to minimize your error rate.
Absolutely.
So, but again, it goes back to that want versus wish, right? Like if you truly want something, we tell our kids this too. It's like if you want to go to post-secondary and play sports, like so you're a high school athlete, you want to go to the D1 or you want to make the national team, whatever it is. If you truly want something, all these faucets are no longer options. It's like you need to take care of your body and go to bed early. You need to eat properly. You need to train. You need to lift weights. You need to sprint. Jump. Those things are all necessities. You don't have the illusion of choice anymore because it's only when you do the things you need to do you have the opportunity to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So you have to get rid of that illusion of choice if you're striving for something you truly want. That requires a personal investment, and you have to be okay with the consequence being devastating if you don't get it.
Yeah.
Right? Which goes back to the issue we have a lot of times with young athletes is they are afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it be because of the emotional devastation, whether it's because the insecurity of looking foolish to the public, which in reality no one gives a fuck.
I know. No one actually cares.
Nobody gives a fuck, right? So it's like, how do you build that robustness to tolerate failure and look at it objectively as a process versus an outcome? Yeah. I know because outcomes are like the business, like wins and losses. You get fired and hired based on wins and losses.
Yep.
Right? But that's not sustainable if you don't actually build a process that's scalable to create athletes instead of just work with the outliers. Like you might have a team one year that's a stud team and they all leave and all of a sudden like, well, if your process or your culture wasn't established, you can't put them in a funnel and build them again.
Yeah, you got to rebuild. Yeah.
You have to rebuild. So it's like, how do you build elite athletes versus just work with elite athletes? You know what I mean? Like, how do you create that?
Oh man, if I knew, I would be a better coach. It's hard, like, oh man, especially like at the youth, because you can't recruit anybody. You just get who lives in your area.
Yeah.
Right. Or who sees like our Facebook ad and like, oh, wrestling, that might be fun. But it's not like I can draw other wrestlers into the area. No one's moving to come and wrestle for the Junior Badgers. At least I don't think they are.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's true. Not yet. But and then we've been trying to just work with different things to try to like build more elite athletes, like different length of practice times. Last year we did 4 nights on the mat. This year we're doing 3, but longer practice times to give them that day off because we think, hey, we had the most injuries we've ever had last year, but we also added that day. So let's take that day away, but give the same amount of wrestling time. But now they can get that night off where they're kind of recouping. So we're going to try with that and see how that goes. And then for the grassroots level, like the little kids, this is where like around probably 11 is you get this mass exodus in sport, it seems. So it's like, how do you bridge that gap between when you're 6, 7, 8, 9, and you're just loving everything you're doing to now you're hitting 11, 12, 13, and like you're quitting. So if we can get a kid that starts at 6 years old in wrestling and keep them involved until they get to high school at 14, they're going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Especially with like, we have a junior level program and the coaches that we have in the room are like, like they have no idea the coaches that these kids have. It's insane. It's like you have so many former national team guys coming out to coach the Junior Badgers. It's like if they get to soak up 1/3 of the information right that we're delivering, these kids are going to be awesome. So
yeah,
but to keeping them interested and involved and loving wrestling, it just seems so challenging these days.
It can be because it's an amateur sport where you don't get the typical glory that comes with like your basketball, your football, your hockey, or even volleyball now, right? So I think, and again, for how we kind of look at it for youth is like you have to have a diverse range of movement skills at a young age. And wrestling is great for that. Gymnastics, body awareness, spatial awareness, controlling your strength and learning how to control emotion. I think that's fundamental at a young age, right? Like if they can learn to be individual sport athletes young, they will learn to be autonomous. And the best thing is like they have to learn how to handle loss individually.
Absolutely.
And navigate that versus which I think is a very common issue now, is again well intentioned, but parents tend to be very protective of, and I would say enable. We see this a lot too, where we have athletes are like, well, I can't do this. And mom's like, yeah, they need a day off, need this. It's like, but this is not building, and they kind of validate as like, well, we're taking care of our body. It's like, well, maybe, but it sounds more of an avoidance strategy versus how to navigate an opportunity to persevere,
Yeah.
be disciplined.
I
You
would
can't just say
agree.
the words. It's you're presented with an opportunity to persevere or an opportunity to be disciplined and do what is necessary, but you're making the choice to not do it, and
Mhm.
you're justifying it with whatever makes you emotionally respond well to it.
Right.
That's an avoidance strategy, and there's only so many times you can do that before when it matters, and it's now foreign to you to how to navigate this because you haven't had any practice.
Yeah. Whoop. There we go.
Fucking chair goes. So it's like bridging that gap young. I think it's trying to keep things objective. Like let them enjoy, like let them have an experience, right? They go back for an experience. They learn these skills, and I would agree that it's not always going to be outcome driven until things start to matter. It's like we can't focus on wins or losses. It's like
Mhm.
I think it's highlighting during a match in this example. Hey, I love how you hit that high crotch. It's a really good high crotch. Yeah, you lost, whatever, 6-0. But you actually got in the shot really well. You turned the corner really well. But here's the things you can work on. That's honing a process. That's them focusing on executing a skill and
Yeah.
honing on that versus, well, you lost. We got to be better. What does better mean?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, again, Olympic medal, gold medal final, someone's going to lose. Don't worry. They know they lost,
Yeah.
right? What is some objective feedback they can kind of sink into, lean into, and then work, again, to narrow their window of failure? And that goes not just for sport. We do it here all the time too. It's like if you're going to fail well. You miss a rep well. Like, hey, your technique was great. Your chest was up. This was fine. It was just too much this time. But the execution was on point.
Yeah.
Next time, we'll just do this. You know what I mean? Like, you don't say, well, you fucking missed. They know they fucking missed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's better than getting a shitty rep. Oh, you got it up. It's like, yeah, what cost?
I know.
Right? So I think at that young age, it's always easier said than done. But it's kind of keeping them engaged by focusing on the skills that they're honing in on. And
Yeah.
then from there, they can only build on it. And again, I think, if wins and losses are byproducts, they'll probably have a more favorable outcome if they focus on the skills they're executing and how to hone what they're good at.
Absolutely. And learning
You know what I
how
mean?
to do that.
Yes, they have to suffer devastating losses to learn an opportunity. No different than how you decided to keep pursuing after tragic losses, whether in your family life, but also just on the mat itself.
Mhm.
Something said, I'm going back.
Yeah.
Right? You handled it and moved on. How? That's the question. You had every reason not to, but
Yeah.
something said go through it. Right? If we just keep avoiding the problem or avoiding the conflict or avoiding the objection, we're not having we're not building tolerance or familiarity to it.
Yeah. for
You're
sure.
simply avoiding the issue for fear of something, and you could rationalize it however you want. It's for fear of something,
Yep.
right? But how do you instill that in youth? It's like, hey, like, how would you tell let's say you have a 14 or 15-year-old wrestling athlete that just suffered a national championship loss. What are you telling them?
Well, again, I'm not saying you lost. Like you said, they know they're lost. It'll just be like, okay, what did they do wrong? Specifically, technically, was it a technique that they did wrong? Was it their preparation? What I found most of the time, it's that pre-match preparation is causing a lot of our athletes to not be ready for the second they walk out on that mat.
Mm-hmm.
That's one example. The first thing, though, you got to comfort that person. They're devastated, right?
Mhm.
It's okay. Life is going to move on. You're going to get through this. They have to know that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Right? They have to feel that I'm in it with them, that whatever. Like, I'm in what would you call it? Like,
Pain?
invested
Yeah.
in this athlete as much as, like, well, not as much as they are in themselves, but, like, I put my heart and soul into the kids that I'm coaching. I want them to be successful, and then when they lose, it's like it affects me too. I'm like, oh, I can't believe that just happened.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like, you hate seeing someone
Yeah.
come so close. Like, but that's coaching. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I would say it takes moral courage on both avenues, the coach and the athlete, because no one likes to be told they're wrong. It's not even like being wrong. It's like, hey, here's some objective things we need to work on.
Yeah.
And it's going to take moral courage for me to tell you this.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't make me happy to tell you you're fucking up,
Right.
right? But I out of love and compassion, I'm telling you
Yep.
so you can get better. But they also have to understand that it is out of a place of love and not malice or
Yeah, absolutely.
just for the sake of. There's only so many times you can kick a guy down. They're like, okay, at what point? You know what I mean? They start to play possum. Like, okay, he's gonna yell at me, kick my. Okay, yeah, I sucked again. There's only so many. They have to have some hope that
Yeah.
there's something I can work on, that they will, like, they're telling me this, that I can work on it, versus just, oh, you fucked up here. That's like, yes, but I need something I can go back to work on
Yeah.
and then make it better. You know what I mean? And it takes courage on the athlete side to, can they take criticism now?
Yeah.
How do they respond to criticism and feedback?
Yeah.
You know what
That's
I mean?
tricky, for sure.
And this is why when athletes get recruited to certain schools, we'll tell them, like, you're going to mesh, like, every coach will probably have the same vision. Like, they want to win a championship, right? In different sports, like, let's just simplify volleyball. Bump, set, spike. You're going to bump, set, spike no matter where you go. It's how they do it and how they coach you to do it. So, like, you're going to mesh with certain styles of coaching, and you're going to mesh with certain philosophies of your team. But that's why you get recruited certain places, or coaches recruit you, because they see the same way that you respond to feedback. And not every coach is meant for every athlete, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like, some people take feedback like point blank, hit me with it hard, I can handle it. Some people are a little more withdrawn, they don't know how to process it. They need a little more like nurturing approach, you want to call it that. But it's the same message with a different tone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So there is an aspect of being a fluid coach, like a chameleon. Like, you have to adapt to what your athlete's going to respond to. You're saying the same thing, but how are they going to perceive it? How can it make it clear to them what to work on, instead of just, otherwise they'll go in one ear out the other, they don't understand. And then they're just going to, no athlete's going to be like, say, I didn't understand. They're all be like, okay, yep. And they're going to try to figure it out, and then they're going to fuck it up again, and they're going to get discouraged.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot to really dissect there. It's more, I think, just kind of focus on the North Star. And I think, I think it's defining, it's hard at a young age too, because a lot of them don't know what they want. I think it's good they play different sports, they learn different things. That's only going to help. But if someone like latches on to something, they have like a desire to do it. And I tell this to coaches and parents too. It's like, if they really want something, understand what it's going to cost for them to get there, and the cost of devastation when they don't get it, if they don't get it.
Yep.
Are you preparing them for that? It doesn't mean running in to save them. It means, how do you support them to navigate on their own? You know what I mean? It's like, if they've, a toddler breaks their toy, you say, okay, I'll fix it. Or you say, well, what do you want to do? Like, they start trying to piece it together. They figure something out. It's not perfect, but you tried. Yeah. That's good. They're trying to solve a problem on their own. Same thing in university. Like, they're trying to navigate the feedback and the skill to clean it up, to make it a higher success rate.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of navigating all these different avenues and everything else like that. But that's just youth sports. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that changed much in university. It's just at a higher caliber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And most of the time when people get to university, it's just like, they're only doing one sport. Not many people in university are doing two sports.
No, and I would agree. It shouldn't be that way. Like, but to go back, we talked about, there's a certain point where the sport is no longer fun, as it should not be. And you know what I mean? Like, and I don't say fun like, oh, we're gonna enjoy everything. No. When you get to like 16 or 17, coaches can start to talk to you about the next opportunity, which now becomes, doing the practices aren't always gonna be fun. Doing the thing, but again, it goes back to, it's no longer an option. Like, it's not that you want or don't want to do something. If you truly want this thing, these other things become a necessity. You don't have the illusion of choice.
No.
You don't have the choice.
Everyone's got to do, like, the most that they can. So you have to go to every single practice. You have to do cardio. We have to do weights. And the top, 20 guys in the country are all doing this. And only one guy is going to win.
Yep.
So if you're not doing one of those things, you have no chance.
Yeah, it's what on this checklist. We said this in the other podcast too. We had athletes on a college team like, oh, we're going to win the national championship. I'm like, okay, but your history of how you work is not reflecting this. It's like putting an investment in stock, and all of a sudden the stock's up here, but your investment portfolio is going down this way. It's like, you're suddenly just going to say this thing, it's going to shoot up.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going to look at your work ethic history. It's like, oh, is it on the same projection?
Yeah.
Then I would believe what you're saying. You're doing the things that are projecting you to be successful.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing those things, you're just saying the words because you feel that's the thing to say the words, right? So, and it has to be understood there are hierarchies to this. You know what I mean? Let's use basketball. If you're 6 foot at 13 years old, you're probably gonna be a good basketball player, right? But then when you get to 16 years old, everyone's 6 foot. So how do you be a good basketball player? Well, now I have to practice with intent. I have to train. Okay, great. Now you're a good basketball player at 16. You're 6 foot. You go to fucking university. You're 20, 21 years old. Everyone's 6 foot. Everyone's training. Everyone's practicing with intent. So now it's, how do you practice with intent? How do you train? When do you train? You really have to start splitting the hairs to just. That's why it's elite. There
Yeah.
are hierarchies. Like you're starting to focus in more on the funnel, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
I have to practice this time. I have to do this warm up, this prep. I have to go to bed at this time. I have to lift at this time. I do this. I have to eat this before. You're really honing in on how to just get a little bit more of an edge. Because what
Yeah.
made you great at 13 is not going to make you great at 16. It's not going to make you
No.
great at 20 or even at 30. Hence why, like you train differently.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it has to be very clear that as you're progressing in age and like you're starting to figure out what you really want to do, we have to be transparent of what it's going to cost to get there. It's not out of a place of like shutting down goals. Like if I want to be the best in the world, great goal. Do you know what that looks like? Do you know what they're
Yeah.
doing? Do you know what's going to cost you to get there?
Yep.
Or even parents too. Like if your kid wants to do this and you support them, you're going to drive them here. You have to encourage them to go to bed at time. You have to cook good meals for them. You're going to have to support them truly and not fight their battles, but support them and as they navigate this endeavor and understand that they might fail. How are you going to respond to them failing?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like the craziest piece is the support role. And when I was wrestling, in high school, my dad drove me everywhere, every single practice. He would drive me, or I'd split a ride with another guy who I was on my high school team. We'd always drive up the Brock together. But I had that support at all times. If I needed to go anywhere, boom, he would drive me. But as I got older, he didn't really have the same guidance to be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't go drinking Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Maybe you shouldn't be working as a bouncer, those same nights. You're working until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and now you have to wake up and train. Maybe you're not going to be at your best. So in some ways, my family was super supportive. If I asked for something, they were. But that guidance piece was like, man, let's find a different way to make money. Let's not be a bouncer at
Well,
the
most parents,
bars.
there's not like a playbook for how to be a supportive parent or elite athlete. You know what I mean? Like,
Unless you were an athlete. So now,
Yeah.
if my kids ever come to the part where they want to be an elite athlete, right, I'll have an idea of what they're going to need. But my dad wasn't an elite athlete by any means. But
well, it goes like the parenting role is extremely important, but could also be extremely detrimental if done the wrong way.
well, yeah, that's fair.
It kind of goes on both sides of the coin. You know what I mean? Like we work with a lot of parents. Obviously, we hear a lot of conversations, and the best parents really, put simply, get out of the way, but they're there to support them and help provide, essentially, like ask better questions of their kids when they're navigating these things. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they all want to quit and do this things. Okay, what do you mean to quit? Why do you want to quit?
Mm-hmm.
What happened that made, like, what are you thinking right now? Walk me through what you're feeling and why you're coming to this decision. Because then the kids start to think about it and figure it out themselves, and they realize, they put it in perspective, it's not as bad, it's not as bleak as I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
Versus like, you're right, no, it's okay, yeah, take some time. Yeah, but is there perhaps a way, this is just a moment in time they're feeling a certain way.
Right.
Right? This is just one moment.
Yeah.
So how can we help them?
But kids act on those one moments.
Exactly.
And make life altering choices.
Exactly. So how do you provide a positive interference of, again, seeking better answers, like ask better questions so you can seek a better answer.
Yeah.
Be objective with it. You know what I mean? You fucking lose, like, I'm quitting, I'm done. It's like, why? Like, what happened? Walk me through it. What are you feeling?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what happened that was so bad? It's like, okay, what about all these other things you did well? It's like going on a math exam. You get the answer wrong, but you showed your work really well. You just fucked up one line of the equation. It doesn't disregard all the work. Like, these things are all right. You fucked up here one time. We can go back and fix that. We'll get better at this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you just have to ask some better questions and, like, have them use logic to dictate emotion instead of letting emotion dictate their logic.
Yeah.
But that's a hard thing to do.
Oh, super hard, especially with teenagers and
Extremely with teenagers, because again, their environment is really no different than how people go to elite programs. Everyone in the room is chasing the same thing. Success will typically draw success because everyone's chasing the same thing. You're surrounding yourself with people who are on the same journey and competing at the same level. No different than these high school athletes. Like, who are you surrounding yourself with that's in your corner? Because, like, yes, it's a lonely road in individual sport, even team sport.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in your corner that's going to start supporting you if this is what you want? Like, I'm going to keep you accountable.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enable you just because I feel like that's the thing to do. I'm not going to enable poor behavior. I'm not going to enable those things. Again, it's not a place of malice. It's really out of love. It's like, I care too much to let you, what do you call it, self-compromise or self-sabotage.
Yeah, self-sabotage, yeah.
Right? I don't want just, I care too much to let you self-sabotage based on one outcome.
Yep.
So, like, let's walk through it, and if you still feel that way,
Mm-hmm.
at least you put some thought behind it. You know what I mean? Like, at least you
Absolutely.
navigated it, and you can come to a more clear decision.
Yep.
Versus just you made a decision on emotion, and then all of a sudden you're going to try to justify whenever it asks you, why'd you quit? Well, it's because of this. You're just like, okay, that's fine. If you can make peace with that, fine. But then don't be the guy that's saying, well, I could have done all these things.
Yeah.
But, because then you become that guy.
You know
what I mean? You're just going to say, well, yeah, I could have been in the NHL, but, I had this knee thing, and and all of a sudden you're like, everyone just rolls their eyes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you're gonna quit, or if you're gonna change direction, make sure you can make peace with it. You can reflect fondly, like, no, like I see it for what it was, not what I hoped it could be or what I thought it could be. Like, I see it for what it is, and I can make peace with it, right? But parents have to understand that too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, and coaches have to understand that too. Like, if you're trying to build a program, at least in my opinion, right? Like the coach is like the North Star here. They're kind of guiding their team. But you also have to make sure everyone on the team understands the vision and can define the terms we're using. You know what I mean? So, for example, if they say hard work, what do you mean by hard work? Because I thought I was working hard, but you said I'm not working hard enough. So what do you mean by working hard? So if we're not speaking the same language,
that's true.
There's going to be conflicts. It's like, well, you have to work harder. It's like, well, I thought I was working harder. What do you mean by work harder?
Right.
Like, we have to be on the same page and be very objective with, this is what this means when I say this.
Yeah.
If we say we're a team of grit and discipline, define that for me so we're all speaking the same language, and that way we can hold ourselves accountable, and I can help my teammates be held accountable too, because we understand the assignment.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We do have some athletes, like, if you were to ask them, do I work hard? They would think they do, because they're at every practice or almost every practice. But what effort are they putting in? Like, for me, working hard is, like I said before, like, every rep is 100% as best as I can do it, right? When you get some athletes are like just going through the motions. So you can go to every practice, and if you're just going through the motions, right, are you working hard?
No, you're checking a box.
Yeah, you're just checking that box, but that's not going to get you better.
No, it's not. We go back to the volleyball example. You play high school volleyball or post-secondary volleyball, everyone's bumping, setting, and spiking.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to university, they're bump, setting, and spiking. How are they bumping, setting, and spiking?
Yeah.
How are they doing the what, right? You're being told what to do. How are you doing what you're told to do? That is what makes the difference.
Yep.
And athletes don't know what they don't know, right? You can think you're fucking doing everything you can, and then it's a perspective shift when you go into a room where guys are doing the same things you are, just faster and better. You're like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, fuck, I thought I was working hard. I wasn't working hard enough. But that's a perspective shift, because now you're aware. You've been there. You're like, holy fuck, I have to redirect. Right?
Yep.
So if these kids don't know what they don't know, so until they're in an environment that kind of fosters what they should be doing, they'll think whatever they want to think and say, I've been working hard. I'm doing what I'm told to do. I go to practice. I show up every day. Mm-hmm. Great. But what is the expectation of the coaching staff to foster that next level of whatever it is, and just define and manage expectations, right? You can't have elite aspirations and make recreational decisions.
I know.
It doesn't work that way.
I did just like a 1-day kind of 2-hour clinic for a club up in Stony Creek, and I was explaining to them, like, if you want to be good at wrestling, you have to almost to the point of, like, you're crazy. So, like, when I was in high school, like grade 12 OAC, every time I walked up the stairs, as I stepped, I would also, like, pretend like I was shooting my crotch. So I was like,
turn the corner.
Yeah, I was turning the corner every second step. And my mom was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm practicing my wrestling.
He's fucking on the spectrum over here.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
But, like, I don't think I'm on the spectrum. But anyways, that is what it was. Just like, man, you have to be just like, and every elite probably sport has the same thing. I'm sure people in volleyball are like,
hockey, baseball.
Yeah, I'm sure they're volleying their.
Well, you can't be 1% doing 99% are doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with being like crazy's relative? What do you mean crazy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
If you're fucking, the funny thing is, crazy is only crazy if you fucking don't achieve elite things. Like, if you're fucking best in the world, you're not crazy. You're just elite.
Yeah.
You know, it's relative. You're crazy if you don't fucking do anything with it.
I often wonder, like, and this comes up like every time, like, say, like, me, you, Trimble, and Laverick are just like hanging out, having beers, and you're just thinking, like, okay, if we put as much time and effort into that we did into wrestling, into another sport like hockey or baseball or football, would we be having these same beers like on our yachts right now, or like because instead of at like a Cracker Jacks at the world, we spent like
we're also short.
Yeah, fair
We're
enough.
also not 6 foot, so like it's hard. You know,
But like, man,
can't teach tall, buddy.
No, I know. But like, just the effort and the time, like that, I just have to think like that amount of effort and time commitment that we put into wrestling, like we gotta be more committed than some of these people making like NHL, NFL,
Maybe
MLB.
but that's the beauty of competing at the highest level of wherever your highest level is. Like
Yeah,
it's hard to do one thing with so much, but because and I think the reason for this, and you know, I've done a lot of reflection. I've talked to a lot of coaches, a lot of successful people, had them on the podcast. It's hard to be so invested in one thing and not parallel in some new avenue. It's just a different chapter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
fair
hard to
enough.
be so invested in your wrestling career, and then all of a sudden you find that next, whether it's like your work career or some other hobby or interest or passion,
Mm,
because it's familiar with what the intent behind it and the drive and the discipline and the work that takes to do something.
yeah,
You just simply plug and play into a different skeleton now.
yeah,
So, but it's because those things are familiar. So when we go through a tough time, whether it's in your business or whether it's in your career, it's familiar. Like I've been through this before. This
yeah.
is just it feels this feels familiar. I felt this before. Here's how I know how to navigate this. Here's what I
Right.
got to do.
Absolutely.
Right? But those are the skills that come from doing those things, right?
Mhm.
It ties back to you have to instill this in young people and the youth. It's like they need to make uncomfortable things familiar and not foreign because there's going to be a moment in their life somewhere else where something else is going to happen. They need to be able to confidently navigate that
Yeah.
with confidence. That's why a lot of our guys in our circle are doing pretty well in their own lives. Like they're happy, they're content, they're doing the things they want to do because it's what they want to do. They're doing the things they need to do to be able to do what they want to do now,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know one guy who kind of worked hard and came through the Brock wrestling room anyways. I'd be like, well, that guy's not successful in life.
yeah, they're doing
Every single person.
whatever their north star is. They're
Yeah.
doing what they want to do to the best of their ability, and they're thriving in whatever their realm
Mhm.
is. Like that's the beauty of amateur sport. And that's like, and those are the things that kids don't want to care about because they're not older, right? It's nice now to reflect and be like, yeah, but if like more young people understood, like this too will pass, and there'll be another chapter in your life,
Yeah.
and then the skills and the processes you've learned to hone are
Yep.
very adaptable to the next phase of your career.
Yeah, for sure.
Like really, you know what I mean? So, going back to the NHL hockey guys, like, yeah, if you put us in any sport, I'm sure we could pick up on skills. We learn how to learn skills. We learned how to learn. We've learned how to
Yep.
persevere. So you put us in a sport, we'll probably be as good as we can in that sport as well. Doesn't mean we'll go any higher,
Yeah.
but whatever our potential is, we're better at learning how to get there
Yeah.
because we've tried to reach our potential in something else. We've invested heavily and we were making peace with the consequences of not getting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to be okay losing. We have to be okay with the devastation,
Mhm.
right? And if we go into another skill set, we're probably gonna have to do the same thing. If you can only truly benefit from your investment if you go all in, but you have to make peace with the fact that it could be a devastating loss. I think again, that's where most young athletes or young people or people that are thinking about striving for greatness, that's where they fall short because they dip their toe in because they can't really fully invest for fear of being devastated if they
Yeah,
don't get it.
Their minds go to that devastating loss first,
Yes.
rather than the process that they need to get.
Yes. So they what most positive or invested people will see as opportunities, they see as an obstacle or a challenge or a fear.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, I don't want to do that because of this. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, but this could be an opportunity to do this. Like positive people and like elite people see those as challenging positive opportunities versus negative obstacles.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So and not everyone's cut from the same cloth. That's why elite athletes are elite. Not everyone can do it.
Yeah.
Right? But the few that decide to invest in that, it could be a great payoff, but they accept the cost of being a devastation as well versus you dip your toe in, it may work out, but if it doesn't, you're probably not going to be too heartbroken either.
Right.
So you can't be elite at anything. I can't see I've never had any successful athlete be that mediocre and then become elite. That's never had. I've never had it.
No.
At least not in my lifetime. So, but hey, that's where we're at right now. So what are the next things for you moving forward as we look forward to the Junior Badger season? We'll wrap up with that. Like, what's like the next steps for you with the Junior Badgers?
So with the Junior Badgers right now, we are trying to figure out a way to grow the sport of wrestling. Right now, so when I kind of took over the program, I had a goal over 4 years, figuring out how to grow numbers. So, and not just like at the top level, like we wanted to try to make like an avenue for a recreational level of wrestling. So that's kind of what we introduced this year is like, okay, people who want to just come and learn to wrestle, um, get the kind of the word out there. Okay, now we have a place. We have like this rec level that we're doing. So that was the first thing that we wanted to try to accomplish this year because like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu does it. Like how many thousands of people do BJJ, but they don't go into tournaments, right?
Yeah.
They're just there to get into shape,
Yeah, they're trying to learn some skills,
learn
get a
some
sweat.
skills,
Yeah.
have a sweat, meet some friends. So that's what we're trying to do this year because the more people who hear about wrestling, you will find those athletes.
Yeah, you can kind of pluck the ones that show potential.
Right. So that's kind of where we're started. With our competitive group, we have actually a smaller number this year, which I think is actually going to work out better because last year we had probably 50 kids in that competitive group, and it's really hard to coach one on one when you have that big of a group. So it's like I feel like some of the kids that came through the last 2 years, right? There's that potential to fall through the cracks. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a good athlete, but man, I just did 10 groups of kind of instructing them. I didn't have a time to get to this other group,
Yeah,
and they
you need more
needed help.
staff, you need more coaches
Yeah.
and everything else.
And like everyone's volunteering.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to get enough coaches out to do everything. We have a good group of coaches, don't get me wrong, but again, this year we have less kids, so I think everyone in our program is going to have that opportunity to be a better wrestler and hopefully like whatever their goals are, if it's win provincials, win OFSA, go to nationals, win nationals. I hope they have a better opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like look at a university team. Like how many guys are on a university team typically, right? Like it's whatever it is, like 10 weight classes or some shit. One guy really goes for each weight class, but you have probably double that for practice partners. So really you might have like 25, maybe 30 guys total on a team, which makes it an easy feeder system. If you have like 30 guys or girls in your program that are the competitive level, it kind of makes it easier to kind of narrow that scope a little bit. So then it prepares them if they wish to go to post-secondary. It makes it easier feeder, I would assume.
Absolutely, yeah. And we did send a few athletes to universities, which was good from last year. I guess one thing that I would like I would really love at one point to like really be on the map. Like right now, there's a club out in BC called Coast. They're just winning nationals. They're just like cleaning up. I know that takes a year. That's a process. Like
yeah,
you got to start. You got to like coach. So that's eventually where like Diane and I want to get to is like we just love winning. We love that part of wrestling. Like we can't, as much as we want to say like, okay, it's about the process. There's always that part of us that's like, man, I love winning.
Yeah.
So that's the ultimate goal is to actually develop like really an elite level youth club kind of in the country. So that's what we're hoping to get to, anyways. And again, we know it's a process, but I think we really have the coaches. We have a great facility right now, so really there's nothing I think that can hold us back other than figuring out how to draw in someone who would be a great athlete at hockey, but like you said, you can't teach height. So
yeah,
I'm 5'6", you're 5'8". The chances you making anything other than wrestling or gymnastics, right, is like
very slim.
It's pretty slim.
It's pretty slim.
Yeah. So unless you're Jose Altuve in the MLB, he figured it out. But like that's
always
super
one.
rare.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point though, right? If you're looking to win nationals, like okay, let's reverse engineer it first and foremost. You have the bodies, and then you have to teach them the skills, and then learn to lose less, essentially. And then I think if you have that grassroots like funnel, I think you'll start to see like the ranking. I think it's more going to be, hey, like what's a reasonable goal? Like what's a stretch goal for us this year? If it was like top 10 in the country, can we be top 8?
Yeah.
Top 6, whatever. And if you have the bodies that kind of reflect that, I think you'll start to see like the North Star. And we'll start to believe the vision too. It makes it a very digestible vision.
Yeah.
It makes it easier to comprehend. So, okay, like these are reasonable they're stretch goals, but it's not something like, hey guys, we haven't won a fucking match all year, but we're going to win nationals this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're setting like objective markers along the way to like track progress and everything else like that. So I think it's a good, I think it could be a good system. You have your North Star being like the BC club. Like that's what we'd like to strive for.
Yeah.
Let's reverse engineer. What step in this ladder are we at currently? Let's just get to the next step. Let's get to the next step. Sell the next step year after year. And eventually you'll start to have a funnel and you'll have a ton of experience of how to get there again.
Yep.
So you're not like throwing baby out the bathwater every year. It's like, no, we've been to this step before. We know how to go to the next step from here with this group or that athlete or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So, no, fuck, it sounds like a good plan. All right. Where, if you want to learn more about the Junior Badgers, where can they find more information or learn more about what you guys are doing?
So we have a website. Oh man, let me bring it up. I always forget
Is it juniorbadgers.com or juniorbadgerswrestling.com or something?
Something like that. I'll find it in 2 seconds. Junior. There we go. Of course, my service is super slow. JuniorBadgersWrestling.ca.
There you go.
There's our website. We're on Facebook with Junior Brock Badgers Wrestling, Instagram. Yeah, but our website has all the information. If you or someone you know might want to join wrestling, kind of our schedule, just any information they might need.
Sick. Awesome. All right, guys. That's another episode of Performance Matters Podcast. Thanks to Ryan Weicker for coming out. You guys got the information. If you want to learn more wrestling, get in touch, right? Niagara's Wrestling is going to grow. We have a great feeder system down here, and Brock's known for that wrestling program as well. So make sure you guys subscribe, right? There's two types of people in this world. There's subscribers and non-subscribers. So just be on the cool kid side and be a subscriber. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Performance Matters Podcast. So stay in the loop, right? Subscribe to us, and you'll get always the latest episodes that come out every Friday. All right, until next time, guys, take care.